Hey everybody, welcome back to Escape Reality Star Wars Talk. It's a brand new episode. We are pre-recording again this week
Yep.
because unforeseen uh, studio scheduling required the studio to need to be available Saturday, so we weren't able to use it Saturday. Um, but that's fine because
Yep.
we get to use it for free anyway, so I'm not complaining.
Yep.
Um, so this week pre-recorded, and plus what we were talking about this week,
Yeah,
pretty
it's
short.
not. It wasn't like a 200 something page book.
And even then, it's yeah. So this week we are simply discussing the short story Starlight. Um, what's this one's Shadows Remain,
Yep.
which takes place just probably moments before the
Yeah.
events of the Fallen Star.
Yeah, I think it would have to, right?
Yeah, considering what goes down in it. Like it takes place immediately after um mission to mission to disaster,
Yeah.
and then just before Midnight Horizon, and well, actually, probably concurrently with Midnight Horizon.
Midnight Horizon happens at the same time
So it would probably be
as Falling
concurrent.
Star, I think.
Yeah, with a little bit before Fallen Star.
Yeah.
So I would say this is probably concurrent to Midnight Horizon, leading into the events of Fallen Star.
Yeah.
But after Mission to Disaster, because they mentioned that they just got done dealing with the Dawn crisis. So we're just gonna jump. So because we're pre-recording and because of how early into the week it is that we are recording this, we're just gonna jump right in.
There's no real news.
Yeah, no real Star Wars news.
Spoilers from here on out.
Yep.
By the way, this is Caleb. I'm Seth. Those
Yeah,
of you who've watched 40 episodes
we are just
by
so
now should know our name.
Yeah, we're just so used to it at this point.
For those of you who don't know, that's our name.
Yeah, I'm Caleb. This is my co-host Seth. Sorry, we got really like. Let's just get into it mode.
Go.
First off, I think I need to say something.
Mm-hmm.
I need to make a retraction.
Mm-hmm.
I have been too harsh on Gal Tarpfin. And we're going to get into why.
Yeah.
But I've been too harsh on my Gal is a traitor rants.
Now, Senator Staros.
Oh, yeah, no. Senator Staros is still... she's still on our hate list.
Yeah.
She's still on our we don't like you. But Gal, I feel a little bit... I am going to apologize that I have been a little too harsh on that character.
Yeah.
But to be fair, the rest of the reading, the rest of the Star Wars High Republic material did not make clear.
Yeah. What was going on.
Yeah, like they just were like, Gal betrayed us.
And we don't know why.
Well, this short story tells us why. So we start off with Gal having a nightmare.
Yep.
They are in their, water tank, essentially, that they use to sleep. But it's also to hydrate because Mon Cal can't be outside of the water for too long.
Yeah.
Like, they can go a few hours, like, almost a full day without it, really. But, ideally, they'd want to get a little bit of water time in. Otherwise, their skin gets flaky, along with other issues that can come up if it's longer than a day.
Fish drying out, it's not good.
Yeah. Well, they are Mon Calamari.
Yeah. And so, Gal is having this nightmare about when she was dismissed from service from the Royal Guard.
Yeah, the Mon Cal Royal Guard.
On Mon Cala.
Because it turns out that Gal had a secret love affair with the current king of Mon Cala.
Yeah.
Before they became king.
Yeah. Because at that time, they had two... They were
the lowest standing, yeah.
So their chances of inheriting anything were really low.
So they figured, yeah, it'd be fine if we got together.
Yeah.
It was not, in fact, fine. Because then...
turns out, apparently not.
Yeah, because he didn't end up inheriting the throne, and when he did, he had to relieve her of duty and basically not really formally exile her, but exile her
Yeah.
because like could not have you around and make people question the purity of the royal
Damn it.
line,
I. Mm.
which kind of goes with another show that at least I've been watching,
Yeah.
House of the Dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Gal wakes up from this dream,
Yeah.
and
Apparently, she fell asleep at her desk, essentially.
yeah, while working. Yeah, Gal has been working hard, as seen
As
previous.
everyone on Starlight Beacon is.
Like everybody is, it's basically crunch mode. Like if
Yeah.
they were a video game company, they are in crunch mode. Like this is crunch mode.
This is one. And one of the things that, like, Gal's internal monologue kind of, like, bitches about is, like, I fucking hate these Nihil because they keep using fake names, and we have to spend, like, 20 to 30 minutes every time we bring one in for, like, incarceration, interrogation, and everything else because they won't give us their real name. We have to check every wanted list in the goddamn galaxy.
Which goes into our discussion from 2 weeks ago for Tempest Runner, because Gal was the one doing Lorna's paperwork, and Lorna, of course, gave a fake name.
Yeah.
That's immediately what I started thinking about while reading this. I was like, oh, yeah. Sal. Sal was the fake name. I immediately started thinking of that when that monologue was happening.
Gal's just like, I fucking hate this.
Which it's fair. It sucks, but it's work that unfortunately also has to be done.
Yeah, and she's like, good on the Jedi for bringing this many in. But fuck this paperwork. I hate it.
Because Gal basically admits the big secret that everybody kind of already figured. If it weren't for the Jedi, the Nihil would just be getting killed by the Republic. Like, the Republic would just be like, fuck it, not our problem. Pew.
Yep. It's true. I'm not gonna deny that.
And so, like, but Gal is okay, I gotta get back to work and finish this basically the report
for
that
the day.
Yeah. And Velko kind of walks in and is like, hey, how you doing? And they're still tense because of the last Starlight story that we talked about with Velko's ex.
Yeah. Who she wasn't supposed to, like, visit that block at all.
Yeah. So her and Gal have been tense because of that.
A little bit because of that.
Enough that it kind of has thrown a wrench in their friendship. Yeah. I'll say friendship. They kind of in the story are like, are we friends or are we just acquaintances? Y'all are friends. Like day one, y'all became best buddies. That's my opinion. But like, this is kind of strained it a bit.
And Velko's
like, trying.
She's trying, and Gal is like, I just have to write this fucking report. What do you need right now?
And it's twofold. First, hey, get some rest. As your friend, I know you need rest. Get some rest. And then two, also you got this
like message. And she's like, why didn't you just open it? And
because it was directed to you.
And it's like, I don't have the passcode for it because it was keyed to yours.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, yeah, it's real weird. It's from a senator, but I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
Why it's not one of the regular ones.
And so she was like, you can deal with that. And then, but you take first rest shift and I'll take the resting shift after.
Yep.
So, Gal, I think she sleeps first and then opens the message after. Yeah.
To be honest, the order of this.
Gal sleeps and kind of goes back into because she didn't finish the dream. We kind of just jumped to the end of the dream.
Yeah.
But she goes back into this dream, and something that Gal is commenting about is how most other races that are more humanoid tend not to dream the way that they do, where it's like, it's the difference between what's it called? When you can control, like when you know you're in a dream.
Lucid
dreaming. Thank you. It's the difference between lucid and non-lucid dreaming. And Monkawa are more likely to lucid dream, where they like, okay, we know we're in a dream and we can control these. And in this case, it's not quite
lucid.
working. It's not quite working.
This isn't
because it's more
dreaming.
of a memory.
This is a memory dream.
Because it's a memory dream.
Because you see these in fiction.
Yeah.
Where it's like, here's the bad thing that happened in the past, and I'm gonna dream about that because my brain's doing a bunch of weird shit right now.
Yeah, which I mean does also happen in real life. There are times where you dream about memories. Usually, though, the memories get all twisted with the dream logic.
Yeah.
But in this case, because it's fiction, we got to stick to the more. Like, there is some dream logic to it, but it's more of like, oh, his face was missing.
Yeah.
Oh, but now it's here. That type of stuff. Nothing like going through a door and magically ending up somewhere else.
Yeah.
Which is how an actual dream would work. It's kind of funny, though, that we read this story, because this story was also by Justina Ireland, who did the last book that we did last week, along with Tessa Gratton.
Oh, boy.
And she's done really well with, I think, with the High Republic material she's been given, because she did the first and third young adult novels, so the not Race to Crash Point Tower, but the one before that. And then Mission to Disaster.
Test of Courage?
Yeah, Test of Courage and Mission to Disaster were hers. And then she also did what I think is the most forgettable book of the High Republic era, which was the I'm cheating. Here it is. Out of the Shadows.
Oh.
Yeah, Out of the Shadows.
See.
The one that's really important and tells it's a good book, but I just forget it. Like I forget what.
The one where like 7 things happened in the span of 3 days.
Yeah, like it's all important key information.
Yeah.
But it's just like I forget because just you unloaded so much onto me, which I don't blame Justina on. I think she handled it well. It's just she was probably assigned this part of the series, and was like, "Hey, you got to explain all this real quick, because somebody has to." And I think she did her best regarding that. And I think honestly, her and Tessa hit the ground running with last week's, with.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
And so, I think she also does a good job here with this short story. I mean, it's not important, but it's also important.
Yeah.
This
one fills in some missing details.
Like all of the Starlight Beacon stories are important, I think, to the wider story. But you can, I mean, just like any of them, you could skip it and still be in on what's going on.
Yeah, you would know enough.
Like, literally, you could just do the adult novels and know what's. Like, if you want to do just the adult novels, you can. You want to do just the junior novels, you can. Just the comic, you can. I personally think you should do all of it, though, because all of it creates this wider narrative that works.
I was thinking about this, right? So, if we think about, and I've made, like, comparisons to video games before and such, I think, on the show. Starlight Beacon is the hub area for everyone, right?
Yeah, it's the centerpiece.
Yeah.
Because it's, while not everybody stays there.
You don't stay there, but everyone goes
all
there.
of our main characters have gone there at least once.
Yeah.
It's the connecting tissue.
Which makes it really bad when it falls.
Yeah. I mean, it's the connective tissue for the Republic as well, which is part of why it's like,
this is bad.
Yeah, it's why it was a target.
Yeah.
Because what better target than something that unites the galaxy?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so speaking of targeting it, so they talk about how part of the stuff that's gotten, so of course, Gal wakes up from this nightmare again.
Yeah.
And Gal is thinking, okay, obviously I'm dreaming this for some reason. Something is going on because I've been dreaming the same dream for about a week.
Yeah.
Is essentially what, like, I forget the specific number, but it's interpreted as it's been a few days.
Yeah.
Like, this is a recurring dream. And as you know, in a narrative, if you get a recurring dream, it's always for a reason in narratives. Especially in narratives where it's fantasy and has space magic.
Mm-hmm.
And so she decides to go ahead and open the message and see what's going on.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, also bitching about the fact that all the Downing stuff happened.
Yeah.
And that they have to deal with Senator Jira.
Yep. Like, I brought this up while we were discussing things. I'm like, how much paperwork do you think they get from, like, just senators and politicians? Like, just sending stuff to them that has, like, nothing to do with their actual job.
Right. Like, it's just like, hey, can you clean this for me? It's like, that's not my job.
Yeah. Like, just on a daily basis. So I figure the assumption is it's probably some bullshit like that.
Yeah. And so, first off, she goes ahead and tells Velko, hey, go ahead and take your shift to rest.
Yeah.
And then she opens the message, which is a,
I need you to cut off cameras 16, 23, and 28 in the corridor.
Also, here's a footage of your homeworld first.
Yeah.
To show you that, hey, we've got blackmail to go with it.
Yep.
Where we know your past, and we know the reason you left.
Yeah.
We know the reason you joined the Republic Defense Coalition. And it's because you were in a relationship you shouldn't have been in.
Yep.
And so Gal basically thinks it over and is like, while this wouldn't affect me, because the Republic could care less, it will reflect on my family and the royal. And while I don't care about him anymore, and in fact, I would love to see it blow up in his face, I don't want to see my family hurt by this.
Yeah. So I'll go see what's up.
Yeah, because this is a case of the public would not blame the guy.
Yeah.
They would blame the girl as being the one who, led him down this, It's a modern commentary, though.
No,
It's the whole she corrupted him, and therefore it's her fault that he decided to do the thing that he was of free will to choose not to do.
Yeah. Like,
it takes two, but we're just gonna blame the one.
Yep.
And so she knows that it would come down worse on her family than it would on him.
Yeah.
And so she does not go ahead and cut the power first.
No, she
just goes straight to this room, and she's like, "Hey, why is the door already open?
Yeah.
What's going on here?" And it turns out that this other senator is knocked out on the floor, and while Gal is trying to interrogate it, somebody comes up behind Gal and starts speaking in poor Moncall.
Yeah.
But enough that, Gal's like, I recognize that as my language. What the fuck? And turns around and then is immediately knocked out as they're trying to recognize who it was that was talking to them.
Yeah. Man.
And that's the end of part 1.
So, I feel like Moncall would be a hard language to speak if you are not a Mon Calamari, on the premise of how sound works underwater.
Yeah.
Which is why I think,
it just came
most
out
people
poorly.
would, have difficulty speaking it.
It's a case of, you're doing it right, but because you're not underwater,
it doesn't
sound
right.
like you're doing it right.
Yeah.
I can see that. So, where are we at part 1? What do we...
That, I believe, is...
But I mean, what are we thinking of the story so far?
Oh. So far I was pretty intrigued. I was like, okay, but what does kidnapping Gal get you at this point?
Obviously, you and I already kind of
No.
like we know who it was that was speaking to them, and we know it was Senator Girostaros because the note was probably from her.
The note was from her, so
And so, basically a few days go by.
yeah, 3 days.
Yeah, 3 days go by. And so I assume, like, by the time we hit this, we're like a 24-hour period before the events of Fallen Star.
And Velko's like, where the fuck is my friend?
They've been gone for 3 days, and I've been looking into it, and the only thing I could find was this. She found the hologram that was, and basically clued in, okay, somebody blackmailed her, but how do I present this?
Yeah.
Because now she's having to report to her boss, who we haven't seen in a while.
Yeah, I was like, damn.
I was like, oh yeah, I recognize you, but we haven't seen you in like a good hot minute.
Like forever, man. Rodor Keen.
Yeah, Rodor Keen. I think the last time we legitimately saw him was
God, it's so fucking long.
probably the comics.
I think so.
Oh no, he appeared in Mission to Disaster. Okay.
I see.
But like where he played a heavy part was probably the comics, was probably the last time we saw him really.
Yeah.
And so he along with Astala Maru
Yep.
and a few other Jedi are holding a meeting where they're like, "Hey, so what's going on?" Cuz it's starting to become suspicious.
Yeah. And she's like, I think Gal betrayed us because
but not willingly.
she was blackmailed.
Yeah.
That's essentially
Like
she's like, I'm not sure.
I'm not sure of the circumstances, but I know for sure like
she didn't do it
of her own free will.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Okay, well, we need to figure out what's going on like today."
Yeah.
And so they basically assign her to figure out more information. Astala says that he'll be assisting along with a few others.
Yeah, and he's like, also, we're going to see where exactly the communication came from, but it's going to take the droid a while to do that.
Also, at this point, we are moving Starlight Beacon to go assist Irem.
Yep.
And so, this is during the tow cable scene in Fallen Star and the comics. And so they're doing that. Meanwhile, Gal wakes up and immediately is like, I am thirsty, but I need to get out of here. I don't know how long I've been here, so I need to get out of here as quickly as I can. Yep. And basically this Aqualish Nihil walks up into the like holding cell that they've got her in.
It's the, please, I'm going to die.
Give me some water. And so what a rude thing, by the way, that they do. It's basic. They're basically about to treat Gal like a dog because they get a spray bottle and they're like, all right. And then Gal, who's already been untying her ropes, quickly does a kick and knocks him out.
No, they didn't like tie their legs to the chair.
And yeah. But like she was already like undoing her arms as well.
She tested her arms, just like, I can't do that. So I guess I'll just have to figure out.
No, she's untying herself.
She does. Because they use the same system essentially.
And so
that the Republic does, and she's like, oh, well, this isn't going to be too difficult.
Yeah. But yeah,
the only thing I need to do is get them like within kicking distance.
Yeah. And so she does that and beats them and knocks them out.
Yep.
And puts them in a closet.
Yeah. It's great what she does next. She's like, okay, some water. She drinks it.
She drinks it. So she makes sure not to drink from the spray bottle because she's like,
I
don't know.
I don't trust that.
She's like, I don't know what he was about to actually give me because he could have given me anything.
Yeah.
And so she basically goes to the like, it's almost like the Star Trek like hollow, like, or like the Spy Kids, like the Happy Meals,
Yeah.
where you just kind of
Just fucking opens
hit
the
a
refrigerator and
yeah.
done.
And so she chugs this water down and is like, okay, now I'm ready to go kick more ass. And goes into the cockpit where she recognizes the pilot as somebody who worked for our next favorite senator to next to Staros,
Yeah.
Noir,
If I remember
who we have
correct-
not seen in a minute
if I
either.
remember correctly, Nor's just kind of an asshole.
Yeah, Noir is...
He's not evil. He's just a jackass.
Yeah, Noir's the one that's like, oh, this droid plan isn't going to work in Light of the Jedi. He was that guy. And then, and then he's bitching to in the Jedi's End, or in the Eye of the Storm comic. Remember when they showed that Noir was like, "Oh no, we got no hope now," because Noir is just the downer.
He's not evil. He's just kind of a jerk.
He's just kind of a jerk and a Debbie Downer.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh no, fuck the Jedi." But also, the Republic.
Oh no, fuck the Jedi.
Like, and so this so it turns out that this person that was working on Noir's staff is actually been a secret Nihil the entire time. Like, not somebody that got turned into a Nihil. No, has been a Nihil.
Yeah.
And so it's Ginny Wataro. That's their name. And they're a Chagrian. So the same race as Masamita.
Yep.
And so,
my lord, they're dead.
Yoda has died. We couldn't find the body. Also, we're gonna toss his lightsaber into a pit. And so, I forgot to mention that when they called the meeting with Rodor, that Emery was the one that got Velko to come because Emery was there. Yeah. But yeah, so after, so let's see.
A brief Mortal Kombat fight happens.
Yeah, I was trying to think on something if there was anything I missed in between.
Nah.
No, because we kind of went out of order. We explained more than yeah. So yeah, she gets into this fight with Jenny, which ends with Jenny once again also being added to the brig closet that's in the back, and just like, all right, lock her up.
Yep.
And then Gal's like, all right, time to go home. Wait a minute, I can't read this language.
Oh fuck! All the controls are in Dutch. I can't read Dutch.
And randomly hitting buttons isn't working.
She's like, fuck.
It didn't work. And because the ship is in autopilot, and locked in to autopilot, she can't change it.
Yep.
And it's then at this point when the Nihil show up,
and they ask her what's the fucking passcode, essentially.
And Jenny is like, "Hey, you need to let me out so I can give them the passcode." And Gal's like,
goes,
"Nope.
Nah, fuck that.
Instead, I'm gonna leave a message for my friends."
Yeah.
And
actually, what's even funnier is this bit of dialogue.
Well, we'll get to it because it's after she leaves the message.
Yeah.
So Gal leaves this message that basically is like, "Hey, my name's Gal Tarphin," and actually this is the message. "My name is Gal Tarphin, head of security for Starlight Beacon. I have been kidnapped by the Nihil, and by the time you hear this message, I will most likely be dead." And then she also mentions the Galactic Senate has been compromised, as well as the Republic in general. Yeah. And she mentioned specifically Staros and Ginny Watero as being spies.
Yeah.
And she repeats it one more time.
She repeats it 3 times.
Oh, yeah, 3 times. And then sends it as a loop.
Yeah.
So she repeats it 3 times and then loops the message again.
And she's put it on as many channels as she can. Yeah,
it's just on open comms. So that way... And it's just voice comm because she doesn't know how far out she is.
Yeah.
Because all she knows is that she's in what's called no space because Nihil territory.
Yep.
And so she just is like, well, if I just use it as a voicemail,
It'll be able to
it'll go
get
out
more
further.
people.
It'll go out further because takes up less space than a video message.
Mm.
And the less space that a message is, the further out it can go.
Yep.
Sound waves.
Yeah.
And so then Jenny's like, hey, for real, you gotta let me out. I don't want to die. Please.
And so Gal's response to this is, you know, I had family on Valo. I'm pretty sure they said the same thing.
And then she just starts humming.
Do, 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 do.
Yeah. Or rather, she starts singing.
Yeah.
She sings this lullaby that her mother used to sing to her. And basically accepts her death.
Yep.
So this is why I'm wrong.
Yeah. Like, once again, the like thing I've been going, I'm like, man, you're really mad at her, and I'm like, I'd be mad if I knew any more about this woman. And now I'm like, man, you had it rough, huh?
Man, Caleb was an asshole.
Don't worry, man. We all have those days where it's.
But yeah, so, I mean, because I'm really wrong. I am absolutely wrong. She went out a hero.
Yeah.
Now, her thing doesn't work.
It doesn't work perfectly.
Yeah, so Velko wakes up in the middle of her sleep shift to find the message for Emery to be like, hey, we got a message. And so, like, brings her to Maru's office where they play the message that Gal left, but it's all choppy because of how far out the message was.
Mm-hmm.
Gal Tarpfin kidnapped Nihil, Senate is compromised. There might be other spies, the Republic. That's it.
Yep.
So nobody with names were given. And so
Velko's like, all right, what time is it? It seems to be
basically it's like
seems to be revenge o'clock.
Yeah, and she's like, so where was this message from? Where's the rest of it? And Maru's like, we're trying to pull it up, but it's
gonna take a few hours.
It might even take days because this is really, and more than likely she's already dead.
Yeah.
So she asks Maru to send a copy of the message to her personal queue, and he offers his sympathy to her.
Yep.
Because Astala is cool like that. Astala is a pretty good Jedi. I like him.
What does Astala do? He keeps track of the Jedi and drinks coffee on Starlight Peak.
Look, Astala.
Sometimes he quips.
Yeah, I like Astala, and I miss him. I miss him because we know he died during the. Because he was on the top half, if I remember correctly, when
So, yeah.
Which was the first to go. But yeah, so Velko wanders the station, winding up on the observation deck to ponder Gal's words, especially about the spies.
Mm.
And she wonders if Gal found out anything, and that's why she went missing.
Avar does make a brief appearance.
Yeah, she's part of like the first meeting, I think.
Yeah. But now that I'm thinking about it, at the end of the Falling Star, this is a bad day to be Avar Chris. Because it's like, because of her like song thing, she knows who's gone.
Yeah. But yes, but she's not in part 2 really that much because she has to be gone by the events of this because she's already trying to take out our friend.
Yeah.
Lorna D.
Yep.
But yeah, so Velko knows that the Nihil were involved with whatever happened to Gal and is like, I will find you justice. I will avenge you.
Yep.
Because you were my friend and you taught me a lot of things before you went out. And so that is Starlight Shadows Remain. I give it a 7.5. maybe an 8.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll give it that as well.
And once again, I am sorry with how roughly I treated Gal. But also, Justina, you did really good with us.
Yeah. And I'm sorry that. Never mind.
Yeah, but we are done with phase 1. That was the last piece of phase 1 material that we had. It's the end of an era.
I feel different now. like
going into phase 1, like we've come a long way.
Yeah.
Because we did Midnight Horizon first. No, sorry. We did Midnight Horizon is the 3rd book of that section of books. We did. My brain is like out today.
It's not Out of the Shadows.
No.
Because that's a different
That's
book.
the second one. Into the Dark.
Into the Dark.
From Claudia.
Yeah.
So we started with that, and now we've ended here. Like that. This has been a long journey. So like,
I don't understand why I don't dislike the Dringir as much as I do the Nihil.
like the Dringir are more of a issue, but they also were taken out relatively quicker.
Yeah.
Because they basically just went, oh, let's attack the hive mind. Cool, problem solved for now.
Yep. Where the fuck is Dez?
Maybe they'll tell us in phase 3.
Maybe.
Because remember, we're not getting any answers of what happens after phase 1 until phase 3. We're only getting what happened before. We're only doing 150 years before. But we've started phase 2 now. We've had our first material of phase 2.
Yep.
So we're in a new era for our show. But it's not a new season yet because we're still in the High Republic.
Oh, Marta, you poor.
Oh,
poor
actually,
thing.
sorry, I lied. We still haven't read High Republic Adventures Volume 3.
Oh.
I lied.
How dare you?
I just looked at our schedule. We're not being done with High Republic and with like actual High Republic until February.
Mm.
And then we're not done with the season currently until May.
Oh. Oh boy.
It's gonna be May.
It's gonna be a while.
Oh
well.
That's because new stuff keeps adding to the schedule. Like Tales of the Jedi, which is next week, is new to the schedule. And then I realized that the Visions comic that came out is a one-shot, and it's out. So we're going to read that the week after. So I had to add both of those to the schedule, which changed the schedule and added more weeks to the season.
Yep.
Because we don't... So I don't count the end of the High Republic era
as the end of the season.
Until episode 1 starts. So anything just before episode 1 is High Republic era. So Queen's Peril is going to be the last thing that's pre-episode 1 that we read. But then the season still doesn't end because 2 High Republic official novels come out immediately after that. Along with the Bad Batch Season 2, hopefully having finished by then. So, if they keep when they're currently dropping Bad Batch Season 2. Since Bad Batch, got moved. Yep. We should have already been starting to watch it. We would already be like 4 episodes in if they kept the original date. So yeah. There's a few things that got added in there for increased when the season would have ended. And so yeah, so that's it for this episode. Next week is Tales of the Jedi. I do not know yet if we're going to be pre-recorded or not again.
Yeah, we'll find out next week.
Find out next week if we are live or not.
Yep.
But thank you all for watching. Because it's pre-recorded, y'all are probably watching on YouTube, which means go ahead and feel free to like and subscribe to the channel. If you do not know, we have a Twitch channel as well where when we're live, we also we co-stream it.
Yep.
And that is twitch.tv/CJ Star Wars 94. You can follow or subscribe to us there. Every little bit helps. And if you subscribe, that little bit of money goes right back into helping us buy basically the books and everything that we need to have run the show. So anytime we need a new book or anytime we're getting a new comic or whatever, or paying the Disney Plus subscription, that's where a lot of that money's going to go to. And eventually, when we get enough, it'll go to actually paying me to do this more full-time. And then when we get even more money, it'll go to paying you full-time. So Twitch helps. Another way you can show support is through the Patreon that we have, which is patreon.com/Escape Reality Films. Since you're probably watching on YouTube, there's a link down below where you can check that out. And if you do, you'll join our fine member, Jennifer Brantley, who is Seth's mom, who's currently at our $10 tier, which is the... Do we want to guess which character from the Escape Reality Films $10 is?
I could try. I'd probably get it wrong.
Yeah, I don't know either. I think Jimmy ties the $1 tier.
Is it Toki?
I think it might be Toki. Is Toki the $5 tier?
I'm not sure.
I think Jimmy is the $1 tier. Antonio is the $5 tier, and Toki is the $10 tier. And then Sildenafil is the 20? 25?
Yeah.
Oh, this doesn't show the tiers. Hey, I was right. No, I was wrong. I reversed it. Antonio's the $1 tier. Jimmy Ties must be the $5 tier. Yep. And Toki is the $10 tier. Toki is the $10 tier.
There we go.
So she's on the Toki tier. And Sildenafil is 15. Yep.
Yep.
And then B9 is 20. Sylvester is 25.
Oh.
But with the tier that she's at, she gains access to being part of the Discord, which you get at the $1 tier. You also, with the $1 tier, can get to see early access to a little bit of early concept art for the comic book that I'm currently working on, which is an adaptation of my novel Superworlds and the short stories collection called The Coat Wars, which takes place in the same universe as Superworlds. And you get to be part of that. You also gain access to the Super Universe Tabletop RPG playtest, which is the RPG system based on the Superworlds universe that we playtested for the YouTube channel. And the playtest information, it's all still there. You gain access to that because when you join the Discord, there's a channel name for it that's for the Super Universe RPG, and it has all the PDFs there.
Yep.
And that's how you gain access to the PDFs. So if you want a new RPG system to play with, it's there. No art really included in the rules books yet, but I feel like we're probably close to releasing it. We just need art for the book because I think the rules are essentially at where they're gonna be.
Yeah.
The $5 tier, however, which is also covered in the $10 tier, so something else that Jennifer gets, is a week access to YouTube content before it's for public consumption. So basically, today they wouldn't get anything, but Sunday they would get a new video based on what I uploaded the previous Sunday. So for that example, they would get, let's see. Oh, so tomorrow they're going to get a gameplay of me playing Jedi Knight Mysteries of the Sith. That's that's what YouTube is about to get tomorrow, but Patreon already has that. So Patreon members have already watched the video for tomorrow. And so they've already watched me play as Kyle Katarn and try to do some goofy stuff. And then, get to see some gameplay of us playing Legacy of the Sith for the Old Republic as well, because that's up still, and I'm still uploading bits of that. I think the last bit of that is what's uploaded right now. Basically the last part that you're in, but I kept playing afterwards. But because it's the Ruins of Null part where you go fight Malgus. That was the part I had to play by myself because we couldn't play that together. But we had to, like... I had to still walk you through it because we had to review Legacy of the Sith for the show.
Yeah.
And I was like, we still gotta play it. How do we do this? But yeah, the $5 tier gives you access to that. And then the $10 tier gives you access to anything that's scripted content. So once we start doing scripted content again, so stuff like Jimmy Tai, the D&D adventures, stuff like that. Whenever whenever we start doing scripted content again, which I do believe at some point we're going to, you would get that you would get that as we make it. So basically, anything that we're making that month, where it's like, okay, we're filming it, and we know it's coming out this month. Here's a script to it. You get access to read that PDF script. And that's, once again, you'd be in the Discord to get access to that. And so a lot of reasons to join up. You get to get a little bit of behind the scenes. $15 once we start doing more, scripted content again. We used to have behind the scenes meetings every week. We don't have those right now.
Yeah. No.
But once we have those again, if you're $15 tier, and if you're $15 tier, we'll make a reason to have those meetings again. We'll just be like, okay, we got to make a show now, because we're getting paid $15 a month, so why not? And that would basically let you sit in and listen in on any behind the scenes meetings, which we would do once a week.
Yeah.
And then $20 would let you be part of a Star Wars tabletop session with us.
Yeah.
And that would be like a once a month thing. We'd do like a one shot specific for that, where it's like, okay, we're gonna do a one shot. That's with everybody that's paying the $20 tier, and it'll even be canon to the rest of the like overall story that we're telling. And so you'd get to play a part in that, and you'd get to create your own characters, and you'd even get to play with some of the others who might be available for that week, for that month. So like if Seth wanted to come down and play like one of his characters, we get to do that. And so, and it doesn't even have to be a Star Wars tabletop session. We could play a Super Universe tabletop session. Yep. It really comes down to what the people that are in that tier would want to play.
I was gonna make a stupid joke.
Like we could straight up just play D&D. Yeah. Like it just comes down to what.
Hey Caleb, which is harder to kill, one of my characters or a Sith Lord?
Both.
Both. They're the same level.
Yeah. That's why neither of you have died. You'll just keep. And then the $25 tier, which is the Sylvester tier, that finally gives you access to a free physical copy of all of my books. So you just straight up get a free physical copy of my books. And when we start doing the comic, when the comic is actually starting to come out, the $1 tier will give you access to the I think we're gonna make it to where the $5 tier will give you access to the final like page. So like when we're done with a page, it'll be like, okay, $5 to get access to a single page. But once 5 pages are done, we're planning to create a I plan to create a Webtoons account, and then release 5 pages on Webtoons at once in bunches. And then when a complete issue is done, I would say the $10. I'd say the $10 tier would be enough to get you the whole issue printed out, paper, like actual like a regular comic book. And the $5 tier could probably get you a PDF copy. Like, just comes down to stuff that I haven't like centered down yet.
Yeah.
But like, it's just a way of like giving us reasons to keep making these things, and also a way to keep making these things. Honestly, I don't need a reason to make these things. I'm gonna make them. It's more of I would like financial incentive, because then I can do them more.
Yep.
That's the thing. It's more of a I want to do this more, but I can't afford to do this more. So if you give me money to do it more, then we can, and then you get something out of it, and we get something out of it, because I enjoy doing it. And that's really what it comes down to. Like, I could not be making the the $9 that I end up getting from your mom because Patreon takes their share.
Yep.
So even though it's a $10 tier, Patreon takes their dollar, and it comes down to really about $9. But I could not be getting that money, and I would probably still be doing this podcast because I love doing it. That's really what it comes down to. And we've had this discussion before. We wouldn't be here if we didn't like doing it.
If we didn't want to do it, we wouldn't. But we do.
So
we do.
Like even if we were making $100 like an episode,
yeah,
we would just be like, it's not fun. If it was not fun,
yeah,
we would be like, thanks for the money, but we don't want to do this, and then we'd find something else to do.
Yep.
We do a different podcast, which. I mean, we're probably going to do more than one podcast anyways because we want to. Not like we're both like, should we do this? Probably not, but we want to.
yeah.
That's what it's come down to.
Yeah.
Like literally everybody that we've talked to about it.
Common sense would dictate that that's.
Yeah. Like literally everybody we talked to has been like, hey, you probably shouldn't do this podcast because it's very niche. Like not Star Wars.
Not this one.
But like the other one that we thought about. And they were like,
so...
they're like, it's so niche. And I'm like, yeah, but we want to do it. And they're like, okay, good on you, I guess. But
like, odd choice, but
I'll call out who told me that. You don't know him, but you probably have heard me talk about him, Zach.
Yeah.
From the Twitch sphere. He I forgot what his name is on. He's one of our followers. He's commented a couple times for our videos, but yeah, he's a friend of the channel and he's a good friend of mine. And so he was like, "That's kind of neat." Like he's like, "I love that franchise, Clown Baby."
I see.
Clown Baby from YouTube is their username, and they were like, "That's kind of niche." Like, even for me, they were like, I like that franchise too, but that's a little niche. And I'm like, yeah, that's kind of the point, though. Like, we know it's niche, but, like, we're going to do it anyways because we like the franchise enough. And I think that a niche franchise can have an audience built if you present it correctly. I mean, hell, I've seen YouTube videos that are just them talking about specific episodes of Murder, She Wrote. That's neat. That's pretty niche. Like everybody knows what Murder She Wrote is. Just like I would say a lot of people know the franchise that we want to do our podcast on. I'd say a few people at least know it by name or at least by the one quote that.
Yeah.
Like there's the famous quote from that franchise. Murder She Wrote is in a similar situation, I think, where it's very niche in that people know what it is, but not everybody has watched it. But I watched I watched Pushing Up Roses. That's the name of the channel. Shout out to them. I think they're hilarious. They do videos all the time of Murder, She Wrote episodes and just like discussing them the way that we want to do with the other podcasts, where it's basically just them talking about it. And it's just like, that's hilarious the way you just tell the events of this episode, and also just like it makes me want to go and watch more episodes as well as watch that episode for myself. So I think it works. Like niche programming kind of works in the YouTube sphere.
That conspiracy board, man, it's just hanging out.
Oh, for the franchise we want. Oh yeah, Murder. I wish there had been a crossover between that franchise and Murder, She Wrote. Could you imagine it? Could you imagine? Could you imagine Jessica Fletcher going in and being like, "There's a dead body here, and somehow this town keeps telling me that this character is involved in all the murders in this town, but somehow is never the murderer. I need to figure out what's going on." I think Jessica Fletcher would figure it out. Jessica Fletcher is smart. She would figure it out. One of the best goddamn detectives out there. Which, by the way, I guess we should say rest in peace to Angela Lansbury, who was Jessica Fletcher, while we're at it. Amazing, amazing actress. Most people probably know her more as Mrs. Potts from Beauty and the Beast, and a lot of her stage acting as well. Murder, She Wrote, probably also a big thing that people remember her from. And, I mean, she just had a, large career. Very prolific acting career, film and stage, and television. But yeah, I think Jessica Fletcher would figure it out. Hell, if Murder, She Wrote can have a crossover with Magnum PI, which it did. Once again, thank you, Pushing Up Roses, for the video on that, because my mom's a big Magnum PI fan.
Yeah.
She loves Tom Selleck, so I had to point her in the direction of that video and be like, hey, did you ever watch that crossover? So, like, if they could have a crossover, our franchise that we like could have had a crossover. Because let's see, when was Prime? Oh yeah, they had 3 years they could have had a crossover with it. Although they might have had let me see what network though, because it might have been a different network. Because that's the trick. Because what network was it on? Because Murder, She Wrote was on CBS. It just says syndicated, which means it was on a bunch of networks. Was on CBS. Well, CBS is their current distributor. Which is why it's on Peacock, because Peacock owns CBS, because CBS, I mean, the CBS logo, the Peacock, which is NBC Universal, and CBS is owned by No, sorry, it's on CBS is Paramount. I'm dumb. Why is it on Peacock then? Because you would think it would be on Paramount.
Maybe the
streaming rights. Maybe they made a deal. Yeah. Anyways, unfortunately, Angela Lansbury's dead now, so now we cannot get that infamous crossover. Because I was like, now they're on the same network. Oh, wait a minute.
Alas.
But yeah, we are now over an hour. We were just
probably.
Yeah, like the episode was short, so I had to fill in some time. We're still not over an hour, actually.
Oh, man.
But yeah,
are you all right, man?
Anyways, the rest of the self-promoting spiel.
Yep.
Got sidetracked. Check out our Patreon, so that way we can have more stuff like this, more shows like this. If you love hearing us just ramble on like this, drop a little bit of money.
Yep.
And if you don't, hey, you're still welcome, because we still enjoy doing it, whether you drop money or not. Money is just helps a little bit.
Yep.
I want to go ahead and thank
Mopcast Network, baby.
Yeah, Mopcast Network, who provide the space. We are coming back soon with Cult Movie Cantina. If it's this upcoming week, it'll be a vampire movie, one of the vampire movies that we've had, one of the 3, and then if we wait till November, excuse me, it's gonna be one of our macho films, because we do Movember, for men's cancer awareness, and
I see.
So we do Movember movies usually then, so muscles and mustache movies is what they call it. And so we get one and so we'll do one of those if it's November when we come back. Either way, we're coming back pretty soon. At the latest, the first November one. So either way, we're coming back. And then Andor days, for My Star Wars Life, we are behind because we couldn't film this past. We're gonna film this week, actually.
All right.
We're gonna, when we're filming now for this episode, we should be filming maybe a couple days after. We're not waiting till the weekend to get 4 and 5 done. We just couldn't do 4 and 5 because JD got sick.
I see. Yep.
So we had to reschedule. I'm missing anything else? Oh, yeah. I think that's it for the shows because Tuesdays with Scotty is still up in the air. If you want to find Mobcast Network, I co-host and produce their shows. You can find them on youtube.com/Mobcast Network as well as any podcasting app. And then if you are in the Mobile, Alabama area, we would also like to thank Gamers and Geeks, which is our local gaming shop. They can be found on Moffett Road, and they provide the space to Mobcast Network. They rent it out, and they have basically all your gaming needs. There's an arcade in the back, which is you pay $10 for the day, and it's free play arcade system cabinets. So you just get your wristband for the $10 play, and then you just play whatever games you want that are back there.
Mm-hmm.
I think I saw Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is one of the cabinets currently there because they rotate cabinets in and out. I think House of the Dead 2 is currently still one out.
Yeah.
And then
I think so.
Mortal Kombat 1 through 3 I think is out there.
Yeah.
So like if you really like fighting games, there's a pretty good chance of finding something you like cuz I think they also have
I think they also have like Tekken.
Yeah, they've got Tekken. I don't know which one. And then they've even got what's that other one? There's another big one.
I think it's Street Fighter versus SNK.
Yeah. I was trying to think of another one though. There's like another one I can't think of. See, now I'm going off on a tangent because I'm trying to remember all these fighting games. Killer Instinct. I think there's a Killer Instinct cabinet.
A Killer Instinct one.
Yeah, so there's a Killer Instinct cabinet as well. Like literally, if you are a lover of fighting games and classic fighting games, check out the arcade here for real. There's also like non-arcade games. There are like straight up classic games. Like they've got, I think Miss Pac-Man is back there.
I think so.
Galaga is back, or one of those type of
Gal,
like Galaxia or Galaga, one of the two like classic ship shooters. And then I think there's at least one pinball machine.
Yes.
Currently, I don't know if it's the Batman one.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure which pinball machine it is because they've got a Batman one, they've got a Terminator one. They also got the Frankenstein movie one.
Yeah.
Which I like the Frankenstein movie one. They've got there are so many options, and then there's even DDR machine back there.
Yes.
So like literally any type of gaming arcade system that you like, you've got your choices.
Yes.
Choices are there.
And then speaking of gaming,
yeah, they've got Engage Gaming, which is in the same building with Gamers and Geeks, but is a different business. But they also kind of are a great friend of the show, and they have you pay a monthly fee. You can either pay a membership fee or not. And if you pay the membership fee, you get a cheaper cut on your hourly rate for renting out video game cabinets, essentially, because they have PlayStation, Xbox, PC, and VR machines that you can walk up to and just play games on. And they can provide the games as well. You pay an hourly rate based on how much you want to play. And if you're a member, you get a little bit of a decreased rate. And that's like a monthly membership fee. So, a lot of things to check out here. And a lot of great people to show support to who show support to us.
Yep.
So, next week, Tales of the Jedi. You excited for another show?
Yes, it's been a while.
I mean, we've had Andor and we've been enjoying it, but
yeah,
more content is always good. I will never say no to having more content. Like honestly, I dream of the day where we have multiple Star Wars shows and movies coming out at once.
Like the thing with Andor that you and I have kind of been doing.
Yeah, we've been watching it in the story arc blocks.
Like groups of 3.
Which is the arcs, although episode 7 we might have to watch by itself. It is not in an arc.
Okay.
Because Gilroy came out, and in one of the interviews recently, he talked about the fun of having the arcs like that, and like kind of like Episode 1 and 2, you have your rising tension, and then 3, you finally release that tension. 4 and 5, you have a new rising tension, and then 6, you release that tension. 7 is kind of just an is like a intermission episode.
Okay.
It's an intermediary. And so 7 we might just watch when it comes out, like Thursday or something. Like we'll just or the next Tuesday we'll watch it and Thursday is probably the more likely of when we'd watch it. So Thursday we might just watch it together and be like, okay, this is and then he said after 7, 8, and 9 are going to be going back to that rising tension, and then 10 is going to be the release of that tension, and then the last 2 episodes are basically going to be the big finale for the season. But yeah, next week, Tales of the Jedi. Thank you all for watching. Yep. Have a good one. I've spoken.
Bye.